Elimelech, you can go there. You can go here.
Turn the phone so you can see the. כי עזי וזמרת ידוני ויהי לי לישועה ושבתם מים בששון ממעייני הישועה לאדוני הישועה ברכתך סלע אדוני צבאות עמנו משגב לנו אלוהי יעקב סלע אדוני צבאות השם אדוני יושיע המלך יעננו ביום חורנו
ליהודים הייתה ושמחה וששון כן תהיה לנו.
ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה וששון בעיקר כן תהיה לנו כוס ישועות תשא ובשם אדוני אקרא סמרי מרנן ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי ושמים
אמן.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא מהרי האש
אמן.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המבדיל בין קודש לחול בין אור לחושך בין ישראל לעמים בין יום השביעי לששת ימי המעשה ברוך אתה אדוני המבדיל בין קודש לחול
אמן.
la
Tov, Tevot, Bezum Tevot, Beseret Tevot, Hatorah Vanir Nigle Tevot. May we all have a blessed week. We heard the blessings, the most beautiful blessings of the Kohanim from the Torah today. So we know that we're going to have a beautiful week full of blessings, that those blessings be materialized. Lemata Masarat Fachim in a very tangible way, and we enjoy them with good health, with peace of mind, with abundant parnasah, with all the blessings that we need for Hashem. We should be extremely generous, and we should be good vessels to receive the blessings, as we learned this week about the 15 letters and how connected are to our hand holding the Kiddush, the Havdalah cup. May it always be overflowing with blessings our life.
Amen.
So we learn today the first chapter of Pirkei Avot, and we'll have a short class, and it's traditional also on Motzei Shabbat, Saturday night, to share a Hasidic story. The 10th Mishnah of first chapter of Pirkei Avot says, Shmaya v'Avtalion kiblu meyem, Shmaya omer, Eov et hamlacha usnat haravanut ve'at tivada lareshut. Shmaya and Avtalion received from them, and Shmaya said, love work, abhor power, and do not fraternize with those in power. So, what does it mean, love work? No one should say, this work is beneath me. Work is the best vessel to receive all the blessings in our lives. Since the very beginning of creation, God showed us by example, as we learn from the parasha today, by the way that before Shimshon was born, his mother was told, if you want your son to be a good Nazir, to learn not to drink wine and eat grapes his whole life, you have to do that. Even before she conceived, she was commanded to do that, because the only way to educate our children is by example. So God showed that for 6 days he worked, and he showed us that the way of the world, the way of creation, the way to exist is to work, to do things, not to be passive, not to wait. So God also, when he wanted, as we read in the Parsha today, to come into the world, it wasn't free. First, we have to build the temple. And as we learned today, the princes have to bring their offerings. And there was a lot of work involved until we actually got Hashem to come into the world. And when you love what you do, your work is blessed. And nobody should say, I'm too important to do this. We find the authors of the Talmud, Rabbi Yochanan Asandlar, he was a shoemaker, the great Rabbi Yochanan. Many of the authors of the Talmud had simple jobs that they work with their hands, and nobody say, I'm too important for this. So work is so important that even if someone is completely secure financially, he must work. The Talmud in Ketubot says, why? Because a person that is not productive, that doesn't work, goes insane. So work is what keeps us down to earth, what keeps us doing what we should be doing. And also says, abhor power. In Hebrew, it's usnata ravanut, literally means hate being a rabbi. So there was a Hasid that was asked to become a rabbi of a community, and he went to his Rebbe and he said, Rebbe, I don't want to do it. And the Rebbe said, that's why you should do it. He says, well, what do you mean? Yes, who do you think should be rabbis? Those who desire power, those who desire honor, those people are not good. Those who don't want to be leaders, those are the most fitting to be leaders. So we have to engage, do things for the community, but always be aware of the dangers of being in power and try to keep ourselves humble. Now, talking about work, there's a very important concept in Judaism, which is En HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba betrunia im briotav, which means God never asks us to do something that we cannot accomplish. Everything that God puts in our way, which is all the mitzvot that we are commanded to do, at all times we are able to fulfill them. And it's a beautiful story I would like to share with you. It's traditional on a Motza'e Shabbat, Saturday night, to share Hasidic stories. It's a segula, it's a source of many, many blessings. In a town, they were about to do a wedding of an orphan that was very dear to the community. People raised them like their own, and they were very happy and excited. And on the day of the wedding, there was an announcement that the recruiters for the army of the Tsar were coming to town. Now, these were not very peaceful recruiters. They would take people by force to serve in the army for 25 years. So every young Jewish boy ran to hide. Now, the groom, he was so busy that day with the spiritual preparations for his wedding that he didn't have the thought, he didn't even realize what's going on. Before they know it, he was taken by the troops and he was about to be taken into the Tsar's army for 25 years. You can imagine the bride was crying, was devastated. They lost my groom, what will be with me? So Rabbi Yitzchak came over to her and says, don't worry, your groom will be back today. She continued crying. He didn't know what to do. He says, I swear to you, listen, that today your groom will be back. When she heard the great tzaddik saying such a powerful statement, she calmed down. Now, he asked Rabbi Menachem Mendel to come with him and says, listen, we have to find a way to bring him back. Now, there was not too many ways to bring him back. One of the options was not a very kosher one, but to save a life. He said, let's go. And a possibility was to give a bribe to the general of the army and he will release him. But also was a possibility that the general will get very offended and say, what are you trying to do? Bribe me, you're going to jail. But they had nothing, no other choice. The soldiers tried to block the way, but Rabbi Yitzchak was very determined. He walks into the tent and he finds the general of the Tsar's army completely drunk. As soon as he walks in, he starts cursing him, you Jew, this and that, and I'll punish you. What do you think? How dare you come into my place uninvited? What do you think? You can bribe an officer of the army of the Tsar with 3,000 rubles? You're out of your mind. He didn't even open his mouth for Levitz. And he was speaking. I said, but you know what? Maybe for $5,000, 5,000 rubles, I could hear your argument. So Rabbi Yitzchak immediately thought, okay, that is a possibility, seems to be. $3,000 was completely out of the question. 5,000 rubles was an astronomical number, but it's okay, seems to be that that's what it takes. He goes back to Rabbi Menachem Mendel and says, let's go. We have to raise $5,000 rubles. Now, Machana says, it's impossible. In this town, even if all the Jewish people of this town put all the money together, we'll never get 5,000. Says, okay, so they will have to get their silver candlesticks and their jewelry and the, Rabbi Yitzchak was very lechatchila river. Says, go high, go big. Now, says, listen, you and I, says, we won't be able to do this. But maybe if Reb Shneur Zalman helps us with, Rabbi Shneur Zalman eventually became the founder of Chabad Lubavitch movement, says, maybe if he joins us, we'll be able to. They go to him and says, okay, I'm glad to help. He says, but you have to do it my way, organized. First, we're going to make a list of the people that we're going to visit. Condition number one. Condition number two, I will determine how much each one has to give. The other rabbi said, listen, we're minutes, as the sun will set, the army will go and take the chatan, they'll take the groom with them, and all will be lost. There is no time to make lists. They just run door to door, beg the Jews to give openly to save a Jewish life. Says, no, either my way or I'm not part of it. They realized how much they needed him and said, okay, fine, do your way. They made a list. He looks at the list and he says, there is somebody missing. And he puts on top of the list, before any other name, someone's name that he was known in town as the miser, the one that never gave tzedakah. He said, what? Why are we wasting time? Start with him. Start in a negative way. He's going to shut the door on us. He says, listen, you want my help? These are the conditions. We start with him. Okay, we'll do what you say. They knock on this person's door, which, by the way, he had moved away from the Jewish community. He lived with the high class, away from the Jews. They waste so much time to go there. They knock on the door. He welcomes them. They explain very politely why they are there and what they need. I said, oh, I see. This is very important. Of course, I'll be glad to help. He goes to his safe. He opens. He takes out one rusty penny and he gives it to them. The two rabbis were beside themselves. Rav Shneur Zalman says, oh, thank you so much for your donation. It's appreciated. Thank you, and showers him with blessings and return and they leave. As they're about to shut the door behind them, this person says, sorry. You know what? I'm terribly sorry. I made a mistake. Please come back. I'll give you a better donation. He goes back into his safe. He gets a handful of pennies and he gives it to them. Rav Shneur Zalman puts them in a bag and says, oh, thank you. And he blesses him so much. And they leave, and as they're at the door, maybe he says, what's going on? We only have 50 cents if we're lucky. We need 5,000 rubles. Why are we wasting time here? It's such a bad idea. But as they're leaving, again, this man calls and I says, wait, sorry. I made a mistake. And they go back. And this time he says, I give you a good donation. And he gives them about 5 rubles. And again, he showers him with blessings and thank you. And the story repeats itself many, many times until at the last time when they leave the house, they leave with all 5,000 rubles that they needed. Now, Rav Shneur Zalman says, don't think that I'm a prophet. Don't think that I'm nothing special. But let me tell you what happened with this man. Many years ago, he was turned off by Judaism and decided to look for other gods, And sadly, money became the objects of his worship. He became his new god, money. So once, when he was asked to give a tzedakah, he valued every penny, because if money is God, every part of it is, and he gave a penny. And the rabbi that got so offended, and he says, what? A penny? I'm asking you for a very important cause. And he threw the penny in his face. Now this man didn't get offended because he threw the money in his face, because he didn't appreciate his God. He didn't appreciate money. How dare he? So he repeated this story many, many times. And nobody showed appreciation for the penny, his penny. So he had this penny for decades. When I showed appreciation for his penny, suddenly his heart opened up a little bit. I said, oh, perhaps his tzedakah is not so bad. And he was able to give a little more. And then he was able to give a little more, and then a little more, and then a little more. And that's how we got the full 5,000. But you know what? How did I know that this was going to happen? Only one reason. I know, as you know, that all the Jews in town together don't have 5,000 rubles. Yet Rav Levi Yitzchak promised that this was going to happen, or going to liberate this boy. And the only way that I knew it was possible is if this man will give the money. So with that money, they went to the general. The general was even more drunk than before, but he started yelling and cursing. But he took the money, which, by the way, needed 5,000 rubles because he had embezzled. He had taken money from the treasury, from the army for his own personal use, and he was going to be in big trouble. And with that money, he released the Jewish boy, and they were able to hold the wedding on that day. So the lesson from this is Hashem gives us a task. He gives us, there is something we have to do. He's giving us the ability to do it as well. So never be afraid of a challenge. If it's a mitzvah, if it's something good that God put on your way, it's for a good reason. He's giving you the power to do what he's asking you to do. All we need to do is love the work, love what you're doing, know that you're empowered to be successful, and Hashem will bless you on everything that you do. May you have a Shavua Tov u'Mevorach, a good and blessed week. Looking forward to learning with you tomorrow morning, God willing, 9 a.m. Shalom.